Good evening, everybody. My name is Keith, and I'm here to deliver a speech, apparently. Alright, so, video games continuously captivate the attention of young children, I'm sorry. The interesting character designs followed by intriguing gameplay and storylines are what fascinate adolescent minds. However, parents create restrictions for children that partake in video game playing. They argue that video games are often not educational or sometimes time-consuming, which is not all true. Although certain video games uphold such negative characteristics, action video games have positive mind-stimulating effects on children who play them. It shall be made clear that action video games aid in developing thought processes, encourage persevering qualities, and compel inventive thinking. I'd first like to notify that action video games oblige children to create problem-solving strategies. As stated by J.O. Gibson of Education.com, action video games engage children, action video games engage children in challenging activities. While playing these games, the child's main objective is to complete each level in the best way possible. The further a child advances in a game, the more difficult the game will become, which makes the child reorganize his or her strategies in order to complete that level, to further complete the game. I'd next like to identify that action video games compel children to persevere. Like if an objective is not met while they are playing a video game, let's say they fail to meet a mission's objectives, then they are able to retry that certain level that they failed to meet the standards. When given a second chance, the child is made to reorganize his or her approach to the level, as I previously stated. And next, I would like to identify that action video games beckon children to use improvisational thinking. Research headed by Daphne Bavelier, a cognitive scientist from the University of Rochester, shows that playing action video games primes the brain to make quick decisions. So, children who play action video games are then prompted to come to instant resolve, meaning they have to find a way to get past whatever obstacle that's keeping them from moving on to the next level. Action video game environments capture real-time events which force children to improvise in order to progress. Children who interact with such rapidly altering obstacles increase their mental flexibility. And no matter what the circumstance, the child learns how to deal with these new stimuli in order to succeed. In conclusion, I explained to you in what ways action video games stimulate the thought process of the child. Hopefully you guys have a better understanding of what was once not clear, if it was unclear to you guys before. Thank you for your time.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, Keith, we appreciate you going first. It's always tough being the guinea pig for everybody else. You know, I thought that you did a pretty good job on a couple of things. you needed to be a little bit clearer at the beginning what the specific claim was. You had a very good layout of what the secondary points were going to be, but I could not pick out the particular claim that you were making that all of those secondary points is ultimately going to support. The background information is just a little bit, you get kind of sidetracked in some of that, and I think that there's a claim in there, but it got buried and it needs to be highlighted. Okay. All right, so the secondary claims, like I said, they were pretty well laid out, and as you got to them individually, you did an okay job signposting them. Presentation issues are pretty effective. You look up regularly, you project your voice fine, the pacing is about right. The proof, I think, is a little underdeveloped. Basically, I didn't hear much evidence on the first point. The second and the third point, you had, you basically had, excuse me, let me rephrase it. On the first point, you had evidence. The second point, I didn't really hear evidence. And then the third point you had a good quote on, but it sounded like at best on each of those points you had a singular piece of authoritative evidence. So you're asking us to trust the conclusions of the researchers. We don't even get the data that the researchers used to advance their conclusions. We're only getting their conclusions. If you had some external proof based on examples or based on somebody else's research to support those points, I think it would make it a little bit stronger. Even if it's some hypothetical examples or a personal experience that you could share that talked about, like when you were playing one of these games and how the persistency thing, really taught you the kind of patience that you need to have. That would help a lot on that one point where you were talking about the persistence issue. Like I said, the first and the third points had quotes on. The first one is just descriptive of what the games do. It's hard to make an inference from that. The third one, it's all authority. On the second point, there may have been a source that you were getting the information from, but I didn't think it was very clearly cited, and so you need more extensive supporting information on those points. Like I said, you did a pretty good job presenting it. It's just a little bit underdeveloped in terms of evidential support. All right, thank you.